Knowing why we are doing things. I heard a statement that made me question a certain action that I was doing. And when I thought about it, I questioned the sincerity. Sincerity is something that we take for granted. We know the hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَإِنَّمَا Now, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in that hadith is connecting actions with intentions. Innamal a'mal bin niyat. Right? Sheikh Islam in Taymiyyah rahimahullah gives a lengthy explanation. I'll just summarize it. Basically, in our heart is a desire. Based on that desire, the intention will flow, and from that, we'll take action. Right? And so, basically, in every action we do, it has contained in it the intention which has contained in it the desire, right? For example, you see a delicious food and then you praise the food. In that praising the food, your desire for it is there. Or an attractive woman and a remark is made regarding her. In that statement, the desire is there. Someone has wants money from another person, he doesn't know how to ask the person, and he gives a hint like, oh, something, 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 I don't have money, right? Hoping that the person gives him the money. Even in that statement, right, the desire is there. In all the actions that we do, the desire is contained. When people riot, they are venting their anger and frustration, right? They desire something. The desire is in the action. It's never separate from the action. And people take this for granted, right? Because if our desires are not for Allah, then, or if care is not taken, then the desire will be for other than Allah. And that is not what we want. The people of knowledge, they understood this matter, and so they had high regard for sincerity because they knew that it's not easy to actually do actions purely for the sake of Allah. And when people don't consider this, right, they end up like their actions end up being wasted, nullified, or they don't even have any action to begin with. So somebody will be boasting of how he did this, he did that. He goes to social media, he take pictures of himself saying, oh, he thanks Allah for this and that, right? Or he enters an argument with a Muslim and he starts insulting the person, right? In all these actions, the desires are contained in them. And can someone say that such desires are for Allah? And that is the fact that, or rather, like we have a desire for ourselves, but let's say a love for ourselves, right? So when we take action, the action many times are actually like for the, if I can say, the self pleasure. That's why actions that many of the actions that Allah like commands us to do, right, are disliked by itself, and many people stay away from them as a result. To not get angry, to be patient and forgive, to avoid the things that He has prohibited, to guard our tongue, to lower our gaze, right? These actions are disliked by the nerves, and most of the time, when they carry that out, they are more likely for the sake of Allah, and which is one of the reasons why like they are usually avoided. And when people are careless with this, they believe that oh they are just praying their 5 daily prayers past the month of Ramadan and all these other actions they are like careless with them, then it's a very dangerous situation to be in. Right? What our deeds are going to be presented on the day of judgment. Anyways, like the statement made by Ibn Qayyim, it made me question the action that I was doing. And when I realized it, I realized that the action wasn't actually for the sake of Allah. So why was I doing it? I realized that I was doing it for honor, right? And it made me feel, it gave me a sense of honor among the people for doing it, right? And I had this like basically from this honor, I realized that it was a desire for dunya. It was actually a disease. And I'll not get too into it because yeah. Anyways, like when I thought about it, like how come this thing came up? I realized that I had exposed myself to something that a brother had actually warned me about. And I won't say that I didn't listen, but the kind of work that I do takes me to such places. When I expose myself to such thing, the evil of it, right, caused a disease in my heart. And when it manifested or when it fell in my heart, I started taking actions that contained that desire without me even realizing it. By the time I read that statement and I considered the action again, that's when I saw what was going on. And this is what people don't realize, that the guidance that Allah has sent us is for our own good. If we neglect them, it is to our detriment, to our harm. The Sahabas, right, they were the purest of hearts, they were the best of generation, and the most protected from the shaitan. But when they disobeyed in the battle of Uhud, a single command of Rasulullah, the calamity of that or the consequence of that was catastrophic, right? That is losing 70 of the companions. Today, when people just disobey Allah left and right, they don't even care. It is a very, very like not good situation to be in. And it is sad that people are actually ignorant of the rule of knowledge and they think that they see someone on television or social media and they see this person to be someone of knowledge. Anyways, what I've noticed from the real scholars, right, is again in their intention has contained in it, in their actions have contained in it intention, which has contained in it desire, and the desire was manifesting. Right? They had what I would call a strong sense of Allah or a desire for Him, and it showed their disregard of the dunya and their preparation for the akhirah. It showed in their speech, in their actions, it showed in their writings, and this is Iman. Why? Because Iman is our sayings, is our speech, is our actions, and it is what dwells in the heart. Everything is connected. That is why the reality of Iman is love of Allah. And I'll just summarize it again that we need to be aware of our intentions when we are doing what we are doing. Because if we are careless with them, then we'll end up doing actions for our desire and not for the sake of Allah. May Allah grant us understanding.